Rise and shine, it's a brand new day. Ken and Ken take the stage, ready to play. Weekdays at 10, the cars and the scene. Coffee in hand, they're living the dream. Aggression in their voice, got the whole town awake. Bringing fire to the mic, make no mistake. Shows in the corner, spitting out facts. Dropping truth bombs, ain't holding back. Ken and Ken in the morning, feel the heat. From 10 a.m. CST, can take a seat. We live and love that break in the mind. Ken and the bold. Light up your speakers, crank up the sound. They're talking about life upside down. Opinions exploded like a sonic blast. In the studio, they're built to last. With passion and grit, they engage and ignite. Every single week, they're a force can't fight. From sports to politics,
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
And good morning. It's Monday. So welcome to another edition of Ken and Ken in the morning. As Ken is furiously trying to send messages out to Packer Nation to go, please come here quick. No. I mean, they're all mad because Caleb is out there partying, having a good time, getting concert crowds, chanting not so nice things about their organization. I mean, normal player crap that happens at this point.
I was going to say the best part is he's a part of the fan base he disparaged because he's put out multiple tweets that he's a Packers fan.
No, he put out multiple tweets that he was an Aaron Rodgers fan.
No, there's ones where he says he's a Packers fan too.
Well, that used to be. Obviously now he's not, but that's okay because he is a fan of the Packers though, playing in Lambeau because he beats them there. So that's okay.
Well, one accidental win.
Good morning, Mitch. Let's see what we got here. Oh, no, same one he used on Sunday. All right, Mitch, you need a new one. Come on. You're missing Lions rule, Bears rule, Packers sharpness of the PFS. I guess he likes the Vikings still.
Yep.
Mitch is failing us here. So yeah, really not much going on. I mean, Caleb was out having fun this weekend. I'm sure you saw some of the posts on Instagram, X, and otherwise. I saw
quite a few funny ones.
Yeah, so I mean, the guys are out having that part of the season, the last hurrah before they have to get to work, I guess. The only thing I saw is I've been seeing quite a few articles, probably clickbait. Oh, wait a second. Are you kidding me, Mitch?
Well, then Darren or Colin is your guy. Yeah, Luke is your guy, too. He'll be your Huckleberry.
Jeez, he'll be your Huckleberry. But I've been seeing a lot of reports, whether it's clickbait or not, but basically how Jackson Dart will end up being the starter for Big Blue at some point in the season. It's not a question of if, but when. I don't know, man. I mean, if you're Big Blue and you just signed Russ.
I'm letting Russ take the beating this year.
Yeah.
I'm not letting him get beat up like that for absolutely no reason we want to get him some experience. He can just take this one as the learning year to make sure he understand the offense, that type of thing. I mean, learn how to be a pro.
Time. Like, throw him in there for garbage time.
Yeah. That I wouldn't have any problem against.
You can still get the guy some snaps. Do it during garbage time, or look at if you've been eliminated from the playoffs, maybe you give him a spot start in the last week or two. I mean, you can do that too. I mean,
I'd say it all depends massively on how the offensive line performs this year. Because I'm not putting my brand new shiny quarterback behind a shit line.
And that's going to be interesting because last year I would say that about half the teams in this league had offensive line issues, right? I mean, if you look at people's wish list coming out of the season, at least half of them had O-line on their wish lists. Like, here's areas that we need to go. Some O-lines got better, we think, because, the Bears went from the second least amount spent on the O-line to number 6 in the NFL spent on the O-line. So they obviously put a lot of resources and capital into the O-line. Some other teams, though, did not. They tried to maintain or they lost. Like, for example, Detroit lost. Obviously lost 2 starters, one to everyone in the NFC North has a brand new center this season. So there's been change all over the place. So it's going to be interesting.
I was going to say, don't forget about the guard we brought in from the 49ers.
Well, Steve, once again, though, like, good morning, Nicholas. Good to see you, my friend. But that's what it's going to be interesting to see, like last year, about half the league. So now we've had all these changes, right? Like Bears, Packers, well, hell, the entire NFC North with everyone has a new center. How many teams are going to be in that boat again this year? What moves paid off? What moves didn't pay off? Who got worse by thinking they stayed the same, or we cut?
Who got worse by thinking they got better?
Yeah, I mean, for the Bears, they can't get any worse than what they were.
I was going to say, you see what happened with the Jets last year. They spent a shit ton of money for that offensive line, and it somehow got worse.
Dude, I think we literally had the worst offensive line last year. You can't get worse than being the worst.
No, you can set a new personal record for worse. Good morning.
You could, I suppose, yeah. But like we were talking about a little bit of this on Hallis Hall this weekend. You know, we were talking about the Bears line, like all the changes. You know, basically you're going to have 4 new starters, right? Because it looks like Ozzie Trapillo's going to be left tackle because Braxton Jones isn't going to be ready. And I was pondering, you know, it's really not a bad thing because if the dude's 6'8", long-ass arms, athletic, if he becomes a lockdown, let's say, left tackle for the Bears, now Braxton Jones, who wasn't bad as a left tackle, right? I mean, he was a good left tackle overall now, but his body's probably more suited to be a guard. So why not, like, make him Tooney's understudy, re-sign him because he's not going to be expensive now, especially if he doesn't start this year. Now he becomes a good depth piece at guard, left, right guard, put him in either or, right? And now you start to build depth with quality versus guys that you hope and pray can make a snap. So that's a good thing for the Bears. But then again, like, look, the first 5 or 6 games are going to be a little rough because they don't play in the preseason. It takes a while for these new offensive lines to gel. You know, it's going to be interesting in Chicago with this much change. Same thing in Detroit. Green Bay's going to get a little bit of it. Minnesota's going to get a little bit of it. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens with some of these offensive lines. And you know, of course, and the other big thing is injuries, keeping them healthy. And what's your depth like? And that's what I was saying with the Bears on Sunday. Like, I like Braxton Jones being re-signed after this year. Like, he's not going to cost much, especially if he's not starting. Depth. And like, you know that. You need depth.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It pays off massively to constantly be adding to that offensive line. That's one of the things I absolutely love that Green Bay does. We take an offensive lineman almost every year in the draft, and not usually one. We usually get a couple of them, and that way you can let them learn on the roster for a couple of years before you need them.
Yeah, but you know what the difference is between the Packers and the Bears when you do it? Packer fans, like, all right, we drafted some guy for the line, and okay, cool, we'll see how he does in about 3 years. They kind of like file and forget. Mm-hmm. Bears fans, hey, we drafted this guy Ken in the 6th round. He better be an impact starter from day one. If not, he's scratched.
Well, I was going to say, you can kind of understand a little bit of why the thought processes are like that, because Green Bay's generally had a good offensive line. We haven't worried about having to plug guys in, where Chicago's had a shit offensive line. And you're looking to plug in anybody you can to hope that you're serviceable.
I think the other thing is, though, we had good offensive lines for a long time, right? And then all of a sudden we did it. Like, when you think about it, like during the Mitch Trubisky days, we still had a good offensive line. It's really been like the last 4 years-ish, maybe, where it really became a problem. Like, even like 2 years ago, so the season before last, yeah, pass protection was kind of crap, but they had the number 2 run line in the NFL. So we always had like pretty decent to good O-lines in Chicago. I mean, they weren't ever O-lines you would say, oh my God, it's the best offensive line in football, but they were always really good. And so it's a newer phenomenon for Bears fans to go, wow, I mean, you know, we definitely need to like work on this line because it's been very porous.
Oh, yeah. Gotta rock the Batman. Gotta pay a bit of homage to Ahmad Green.
So, I mean, that's it's a newer thing. I mean, we spent a lot of money. That Bears O-line, I'll tell you what, though. If you look at the Bears roster with the potential, you know how every year there's an offense that just kind of explodes. I've noticed, well, where the hell did this offense come from? This year, that could be Chicago if the offensive line is good.
Could be.
With the receiving core, tight end core, running back room, Caleb's ability to deliver the ball, which we know he's got. We saw it in college. We saw flashes last year. That's like, yeah, that could be an explosive offense. What would be scary is if Green Bay actually got like,
well, what receivers that could actually hold on?
Yeah,
to the ball?
like if you guys had like a stud receiving core, if you guys had like a little bit more in the tight end room, a little bit more in the running back room. Not that you need much there.
You know what? Speaking of the tight end room, I wouldn't mind seeing some stuff out of Musgrave because he's got a shit ton of talent, but hasn't been able to stay healthy. I want to see him pull off a healthy year this year because I want to see these two tight end sets that Matt LaFleur's dying to put out on the field.
Yeah. Yeah, isn't that like a big – we'll talk about the rub, man. It's like he's been dying to do it. Ben Johnson in year one gets Kmet and Loveland's like, what, you don't have this yet?
Oh, I was going to say, I wouldn't get too cocky about that because one of those guys could get injured and you end up in the same situation.
No, well, injuries can always happen. But I mean, that's like if you're LaFleur, you're like, what the hell, man? This guy's first year as a head coach. You give him that receiving core.
He's already copying me. What's with this shit?
He's like, what the hell, man? Why can't I get this? Well, geez, finally you gave me a receiver. It only took 20 years to draft one. Yeah, I mean, but if Green Bay, like with your proclivity for lines, and I'm not going to say this for Love yet, but the way when you had Rodgers, if you had ever amassed a stud tight end / receiving core, who knows? But that was the problem. Like, you guys always were kind of like, I don't want to say on the cheap.
No. 100% on the cheap. We would do is we'd have one stud guy there as a receiver, pay him good money, and everybody else was just another guy that we just kind of just shoved in there.
But, like, even, like, defensively, you guys were always, like, the Packers were always that team that would, like, be mid-grade, right? Like, they wouldn't go spend the big money, but they would make sure they spent just enough to be dangerous and to be good, right? And to, like, maybe compete a little bit in the playoffs when they got there. Because they knew they'd get there because the division was primarily terrible. And they never really tried to amass a team. They just tried to amass a good product. Oh, and that's fine. I mean, look.
Well, I was going to say they lean too heavily on Aaron Rodgers putting on his Superman cape. If they would have gave him a bit more help to where, shit, he doesn't have to throw the entire team on his back every single game. If you would have gave him a slight defense.
If this offensive line is good and I drop Rodgers in his prime in this Chicago offense with a good O-line, he wins Super Bowls just like this because, I mean, yeah, he could do that. I don't know why Green Bay never did that.
You're asking the same questions. I've shouted at the TV cursing Ted Thompson's name. Because don't get me wrong, Ted Thompson was absolutely awesome at the beginning of his career as general manager. But I don't know if he had a stroke or something, but halfway through, his philosophy turned in on itself.
Nicholas the first to say, good morning, Joe.
So how's it going?
Oh, not much. Just seeing the news that we got a full-blown duck in the UFC.
We got a show for that.
Oh yeah. I just had to make sure I put that little jab out there.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care either way. I like Joseph, but I don't.
We tend not to call him Joseph as much on the show because when we do, he thinks he's the Messiah. That's why
I wouldn't go that far.
That's why we just go Joe, so he thinks he's so he's an ordinary Joe who likes to drink a cup of Joe, not the Messiah Joseph.
Oh, see, I thought it was just because we have our own Timu Joe Rogan.
Well, that too, but yeah, I mean, like I always wondered, like if you look at this Bears weaponry, And I think Caleb, I mean, when we saw last year, he's more than capable to deliver, and he obviously protects the ball. So if he continues on that track, right, that would be a team that could be a very explosive offense. And then you go like, man, why didn't Green Bay ever do this when they had the chance? It's like, and then you look at other teams and what they're doing, and really the North, we're almost all built the same way in that regard. Like, build up a big receiving room, great tight end room, add some running backs, work the lines, right, the trenches. And then you go to Green Bay, and Green Bay hasn't changed. They're still doing what they've been doing for the last 20 years for the most part. The biggest departure was they drafted a receiver in the first round. So I'm wondering at what point Green Bay gets on board and goes, you know what? There might be something to this. Does it take Green Bay missing the playoffs this year? Does it take Green Bay having a losing record for them to go, you know what? Look what the other teams in the North have done with their offenses and the weaponry, right? Why don't we mimic it? Because obviously, look at Detroit leapfrogged you. Minnesota leapfrogged you last year. Now, granted, look, we've seen in the past where it was like a 1 year leapfrogging. And
There you go.
But this hasn't been 1 year. This is now multiple years you've been leapfrogged by Detroit.
2 years. 2 years by them, and during a transition period. If that's what they're going to hang their hat on, hey.
But Ken, you can't say that because you guys have been leapfrogged by Detroit for 2 years. Last year, not only were you leapfrogged again by Detroit, but then also by the Vikings. If this year, if the Packers for some reason end up last place in this division, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but if they do, now you'll have been leapfrogged by all three teams in the division. And I'll go a step further. If the following season, same story, Green Bay's got to be sitting there going, we need to build like everyone else has been building.
If Green Bay ended up last in the division, it'd be time to clear house. And Ed Policy, the new CEO, has already kind of stated something like that.
So if you win 9 games and end up last in the division, do you really clean house with the winning record? I mean, look, I think Green Bay would only do that if they win like 3 to 5 games in last place. Yeah, maybe you clean some house, but you win like 7, 8, 9 games in last place in a tough division.
7, 8 games would not be good enough.
No, I mean, yeah, Mitch has got a point. Like, no, Mitch, you shouldn't. You guys built. Look at the way the Lions built is the way the Bears have built and the way the Vikings have built. The Packers are the only ones that haven't built like the rest of the division right now. So, we'll see what happens. I mean, there's a method to that madness, and look at for Detroit, they've been better for at least the last 2 years in Green Bay. Minnesota was better last year, and if this year if the Packers end up in last place, I would think that the head shed in Green Bay is going to have to look at how they built the team and go, I don't think maybe they have to scrap the whole team, but they definitely have to do some things like, okay, we need to go and get some receivers. We need to get some tight ends. We need to we need to add another running back. Josh is great. Let's get him a running partner that's good. And they're going to have to add weapons because it's becoming the NFC North gun show is what it's becoming with these offenses. I mean, if the Bears O-line is good and that offense takes off and Minnesota's offense continues to produce like it did last year and Detroit's offense continues to produce like it's done the last 2 years, then Green Bay is going to have to look at itself, go, just having a good quarterback isn't enough. We got to get some studs around them. And that's what we're looking at for next year. And then it's funny. So look at this, how bad our first world problems are, Ken. Because while we're debating this, they're sitting in New York going to Jackson Dart be the starting quarterback this year for us.
Yeah, I was going to say, we got to play a lot of what-ifs for Green Bay to hit that territory where the Giants got to play a lot of what-ifs to be good.
I mean, look, I think even if the Packers do finish last, if they do, they're not a bad team. They're going to be, like I said, 7-9 will be, at worst for last place for them if they end up in last. And that's not like, oh my God, nuke the team and cut everyone and go on a feeding frenzy of free agency. No, it's like they got a good O-line. They got a pretty solid defense. Like, go get you some stud receivers and running backs and maybe a tight end. and give the weaponry to the guy you're paying all this money to. Luka's picking on Nicholas. This is not going to end well for Luka. Oh God. So
If the Packers ended with 7 wins, they have to ask some serious questions about Jordan Love.
that too.
I'd be looking to clean house at that point. And Jordan Love would even be on the table in the discussion. It would depend on his part. If he just absolutely tanked at that point, I would entertain the idea of moving on from him too.
Yeah, I mean, Joe, I think there have to be some layers to that, right? Of course you do, Mitch. Of course you do.
Hey, why? Thank you.
Hey, thank you for joining us from X there too, Ronald. Good to see you coming in from X this morning. Yeah, by the way, we are now also on Packer Twitter as well as Bears Twitter. They messed up and let me in. Anywho, I think Joe, with what you were saying though, I think there's certain layers to that, right? Because there's a whole section that won't blame Love. Well, he didn't have weapons, what we've been talking about. I don't have the weapons. It's not Love's fault that he doesn't have good receivers and good tight ends that can actually catch the ball and run routes, blah, 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 blah. That'll be one layer.
This year. We got him receivers. He's got a good tight end. There's no excuse to underperform.
He has a rookie wide receiver that he took in the first round. He's got a bunch of guys who can play and drop the balls a lot last year. And he's got a pretty good tight end, and he's got another tight end that you just complained about 5 minutes ago. So there'll be a large.
I'm not talking about Musgrave when I say that. I'm talking.
That's what I'm saying. You've got a pretty good tight end. You've got a rookie receiver, and then a bunch of guys you bitched about who didn't play up to expectations. So there'll be a large swath of Packer fans if it goes like that who aren't going to blame Love. They're going to say you didn't give him the weapons. Love is our guy. Love is our man. Are you kidding? No, you got to give the man weapons. And they're going to go through that phase. So like what Joe is saying, like I agree. Like you'd have to, especially if he throws lots of picks. But unfortunately, and you know this is true, Ken, there's a ton of fans out there who will never blame Jordan Love for anything. And they'll give him at least one more year because they'll say, well, we'll go get you some weapons and then you can show us. And that's what they'll do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like there's the subset of Packer fans there that no matter what Jordan Love does, they want to replace him with whatever backups on the roster.
Yeah.
Because, for some reason, starting Clifford and Malik Willis is a full-time starter. Sounds like a good idea to them.
Yeah, well, because they see Malik Willis come in for a game or two and play well. Like, oh, we can get this every game. No, you can't.
Yeah. I'm more than fine with him coming in for a couple of games. Past that, I don't want him as this full-time starter.
Mitch, did you do a lot of drugs this weekend? Asking for a friend. You lost an all-pro center. You lost an all-pro left guard, and you got better. Got it. And you don't see how the Bears got better. Just getting like one of the best left guards in football on the roster, one of the better young centers in the league on the roster. The Bears, no, they didn't add anything to that roster
Green Bay didn't either. It's not we flipped the paradigm again. Mitch, got one of the best left guards in football.
Mitch, that's what I know it was hot in Michigan this weekend. Was there some extra drug usage that we don't know about? Bills are scary this year. Bills are scary every year. They've been scary.
I wouldn't be shocked if the Bills make a hard push this year to get to the Super Bowl, especially since it seems like Kansas City's taking a step back.
Wait.
Okay. I was with you all the way until you said that they're going to go 21-0.
Come on, man.
Not with no receivers.
They're fast reaching on that one, buddy.
We've seen that Josh Allen can take them to the playoffs with the bare minimum at receiver, but with no receivers,
he says he's reaching. He knows.
Yeah.
Shit.
Coleman actually looked good last year, though. Keon Coleman actually looked good last year.
I like Keelan Cole. I like him. I just like him as a person. His press conferences were hilarious. Yeah, I mean, look, when it comes to NFC North, we're gonna have a fun season. Like I said, I've been saying, flip a quarter for who wins this division. Flip a quarter for who ends up in last place. You know, it's just going to be one of those seasons, I think, in the North. At least it looks that way right now as we start to get ready.
There's a lot of question marks in that division, though.
What now?
There's a lot of question marks in the North.
There are.
If we're being honest, you know.
No, that's
you got
I was just about to say that.
JJ McCarthy, and how do the Vikings, respond to that? You got Jordan Love needs to take that step forward this year. Like, last year was he needs to show that he's the guy, especially they went out and got you your number one receiver. Like, you got to show you're the guy.
Yep.
The Bears are trotting out a whole new coaching staff and
whole new offensive line.
And Caleb's got
one returning starter.
Yeah, and Caleb's got to show that he can take that step forward, Yep. And then the Lions just lost their whole coaching staff, and Goff is another year older.
But wait, Motown Mitch says they got immensely better than everyone else in the NFL because they got younger by losing those all-pro, old-ass people, and all their coaches were from within, so there'll be absolutely zero change in Detroit, according to Motown Mitch.
Yeah, well, back here on Earth, it's like, I don't know. There's serious question marks in Detroit, dude. And, like, there's serious question marks in the whole division, I'm not.
I mean, it's going to be.
I see the potential for everyone in the division to be good, but I also see the potential for everyone in the division to not be as good.
Yeah, that you're on point with that, Joe. I mean, it's like the division has the potential to be last place, be a 9-game winner. The potential's there. Like, everyone could win 10 even. The potential's there, right? But then you can see, where the train wrecks could also possibly happen. J.J. McCarthy can't, it just has a terrible rookie season and throws pick after pick after pick, can't get out of his own head, whatever. It can go horribly wrong in Minnesota. If Love is not the answer that they thought it was, it can go horribly wrong in Green Bay. If the offensive line in Chicago isn't fixed, it can go horribly wrong in Chicago. And Detroit, the same thing. If the changes weren't adequately fixed or plugged, the holes that they, got when the season ended, it can go horribly wrong there. I mean, it can go off the rails just as easy as it can stay on the rails. But it sounds like Mitch has been doing a lot of rails.
You and me both.
But I think, with Green Bay especially, or Green Bay particularly, a lot of attention is on Jordan Love, but I think a lot of attention should be on their number one receiver, Matthew Golden. Because if Matthew Golden, for whatever reason, doesn't have a good rookie year, people are going to be looking at Love because that offense is going to be the same. They're going to be like, well, they're going to be asking questions about Love. And I think questions should be asked if he doesn't have a good season. Mm-hmm. But I think Love isn't the only reason if they don't have a good season. There's other things the lack of depth at receiver. Josh Jacobs is another year older. He's a great running back, and he had a healthy year for you last year. But that hasn't been his historical norm,
And Luca, no one's sleeping on your D. So I mean, it's great that you're giving us your little history lesson on your D. Like, we've all been saying, you have a really good D. Everyone thinks Flores is a good defensive coordinator. So that's not where it can go off the rails for you guys. That's why I didn't say, Minnesota's D could be terrible and give them 8,000 points a game. No, I said you guys go off the rails because of an offensive issue, not your defensive issue. I mean, I think your defense. I don't think anyone's saying anything bad about your defense all offseason on this show.
Oh,
so, but Motown Mitch thinks that you're the Eagles now because the Eagles lost a coordinator and a Kelsey and then went to the Super Bowl. So that means the Lions are going to do it.
The Eagles are the outlier in that one.
They are, and they didn't lose as much.
I was going to say, you see multiple teams crash and burn after that.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, is the Eagles didn't lose as much as what the Lions did. In typical Lions fashion, they said, you lost this much? Here, hold our beer. We'll do a little bit more. I mean,
Well, yeah, but to be fair, it's like with the Lions, it's like you're that guy that's been going to the casino year after year and losing your whole paycheck, and then you finally hit a jackpot, and you just expect that every time you pull that lever, now it's going to be ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. It's like they got to realize the run's got to end sometime, dude. And like it's been great, like I expect it to end sooner rather than later. I've been saying, like, I think there's a decent chance the Lions finish last in the division this year.
But that's the thing with the NFL is, like, and I don't know why guys act surprised every year. Every year there's that team that, like, oh yeah, they're gonna be terrible and end up winning the division, or like last year's team. Yeah, Washington, they'll be a little bit better, but they're not gonna even compete. They go to the NFC Championship. Yeah, they overachieved, but they went to the NFC Championship. No one gave them a shot even making the playoffs last year, let alone get to the NFC Championship. There's always going to be that team every year that fan bases write off. And then there's going to be that team every year that fan base go, oh, yeah, these guys are locked for the playoffs. And they don't even get close. Like last year, people had like Joe Burrow possibly playing for the AFC Championship, didn't even get into the playoffs. I mean, it's that's what I love about fan bases is they can't get past their own opium and team blinders. And look, at Packer fans and Lions fans are great at that. Bears fans are great for the hopium.
I was going to say, you got to mention the Bears in that one.
Packer fans and Lions fans right now are great for the blinders, but how great they are. And Viking fans, like, yeah, whatever, dude. Like, we got a great defense. Forget about what our offense looks like. They're the masters of misdirection. They like. Look at this one thing we're really good at.
Offense looks pretty good besides that giant question mark at quarterback.
So, I mean, but that's where we're at this year because, like, you'll talk to some Bears fans, and they think they're winning 15 games. You'll talk to some Packer fans, like, oh, the Bears can only win 2 games. Like, dude, both of you are no, get out of here. I mean.
Yeah, I'll put you in, like, the 7 to 9 range.
I mean, yeah, at least there. Yeah, I and could they overachieve? Sure, the possibility is there. But yeah, 7 to 9 is probably a good. Like I would put most of the division. Actually, I won't go 7 to 9 for all 4 teams in the division. I put them all in the. I'll go to 8 to 10 range, is where I'm at in the division for wins across the board. 8 to 10 range.
Oh,
they all have enough to do that.
Who wins the division will be whoever gets like 12 wins, something like that.
I mean, last year we said no one will get that, and we had a 15 and a 14 game winner. But honestly, like for me, it's still flip a quarter. And yeah, if someone gets lucky and gets to 12 games, that's probably it. Wouldn't it be funny if we get another 15 and 14 game winner this year? That would just be hilarious.
No, I hope not, because that didn't work out well for this division the last time that happened.
Yeah, Philip, you forget 2018. No one gave the Bears an opportunity to get anywhere. They win the division and went to the playoffs. So, yeah, it happens to the Bears too, Philip. And see, that's the kind of
just a little longer in between.
Yeah, it's only been a couple years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I 100% did not believe in Sam Darnold. I'll tell you that straight up. I thought you were going to get the same thing you got from out of the Jets in Carolina, and I gave KOC props for turning him into a real quarterback for a year.
Well, yeah, big game. Are you guys ready for a good laugh? Now, he's saying, I'm going to predicate this before I tell you guys, he's not talking about their ceiling, but their bare minimum.
Well, Mitch, you're going to be disappointed.
This message brought to you by your local weed dispensary, who wants you to buy about 13 tons of it and smoke it all in one day.
Oh, that sounds like a fun time.
See, I'm not so high on the whole division finishing at 8 to 10 wins. I think that there's a chance that your division winner finishes with 10 wins, and the other 3 teams could fall in the 6 to 9 range. Like, and I'll tell you why. Like, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I see the potential for it. You guys have a tough schedule. You're playing the NFC North, you're playing the NFC East, and you're playing each other. and the parity in the division has gotten better to where you're not guaranteed those division wins. If you're Green Bay anymore, you're not guaranteed to sweep Chicago. You're not guaranteed to sweep Detroit, right? Like, no team is really guaranteed to sweep another. So I think you guys are going to end up cannibalizing each other. Like, and so I think there's I think there's a chance that, you know, you guys are going to cannibalize each other, and then you're going to lose some of those NFC East or NFC or AFC North games. Like,
I mean, John, you look at, I mean, the cannibalize each other has always been a thing about the black and blue division, right? But look at, out of a 17-game schedule, only 6 of your games are in your division, so you got 11 other games you can win. What's you split? You go 3.
Yeah, so you got 11.
You can win if you win 7 out of 11. You're a 10-game winner.
Yeah, but look, you got 6 games in your division, but then you got 4 games with the AFC North, and then you got how many games with the NFC East? So, like, you're gonna pretty much have to win a bunch of those too. Like, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, look at, but like, okay, look at the East. Okay, the Giants. The Giants are not going to be an easy out. The Giants will probably get a win. Will probably get a win against a NFC North team. Which one is, I don't know, because their defense is really good. So if you've got an NFC North team that goes in there and they struggle offensively, right, then yeah, they may squeak one out. Okay, now let's look at Commanders. They overachieved last year. I don't know what to really make of the Commanders because they definitely overachieved. But yeah, could they win games against the North? Yes. Could the North beat them? Yes. Remember, they beat the Bears on a Hail Mary luck pass last year. It's not like they dominated anyone in the North. So they
beat the brakes off the Lions. They beat the brakes off the Lions.
Yep.
Like that. That's what I'm saying.
Then,
like,
you know, I mean, you look at the Eagles. The Eagles can be beat, and the Eagles can beat everyone, right? I mean, the Eagles are not impervious. So I mean, and then what's the last team there?
The wild card is Dallas.
And then there's Dallas. Yeah, with their look, Dallas is gonna have a better defense, and they've got some people, but I mean, you can see a team in the North sweeping the East. You can see a team getting swept by these. I get what you're saying, Joe. The potential is there. I mean, the North is a good division. Who was it? Let me go back up to this comment. I think, yeah, Philip said this. And this is the key, right? Is you know, stay healthy. Who's going to stay healthy the longest? And last year, the Lions couldn't stay healthy. The Vikings did pretty good on health. The Bears were okay on health. They weren't great. The Packers had some health issues too. Who can stay healthy? The Vikings, it's funny what they're overseas, though. Because, like, yeah, you've got the game in Dublin. Yeah, it's a long trip. But then you go and you stay and you go to London. So they kind of did you a weird favor that way.
Yeah. I don't know if we're going to be adding anybody from a trade or a cut because I really think they want to see what we have in this cornerback room. Now, if by the trade deadline these guys are just sucking, then, yeah, Goody's going to find something. But, hey, I mean, look, they had to be somewhat can be decent.
They had to be somewhat comfortable if they cut Jair.
Mm-hmm.
So their head shed is thinking we don't need Jair, we're okay.
Yep.
I mean, that's kind of a bold statement, right? But yeah, I mean, Baltimore looks like they're going to be really good. Speaking of Jair, I mean, Baltimore, they just keep adding pieces, and it's like, you know, they're going to be really good. That is not going to be a fun game. In fact, when we look at the AFC North, none of those games are going to be fun. Well, they're going to be fun to watch.
I was going to say, I have a completely different take on that. I think those games are going to be completely entertaining.
No, they're going to be fun to watch, but they're also going to be like heartbreak time and heart attack time. And
well, I guess it's a good thing we're in the NFC and not the AFC. We just get to enjoy them beating each other up.
God, those AFC North games that we play are going to be, whew.
Yeah. So that's all I'm saying is that, like, I see a potential that the whole division could, you know, and it's not a knock on them. Like, they're all good teams, but they're playing a lot of good teams. and
Joe,
good
you're wrong
teams
according to
beat up on each
Motown
other.
Mitch. The Lions are the best team in football history, according to Mitch. You're wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
I hate to break. We're all wrong. We can go home now.
Okay.
Yeah. See you guys later.
Yep.
Oh God! Oh, I saw something about the Raiders today too. Your other tight end down there, not named. What was that guy's name? The one who was supposed to be really good. But
Lazerson.
the other tight end you have, they want to see more out of him this year.
Michael Mayer. Yeah.
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 And they could. I mean, people kind of forgot because the Raiders, took Brock Bowers. They kind of forgot, but Mayer was he was pretty much considered the best tight end in his class coming out. And he's just kind of got overshadowed. Last year, he had some mental health issues, and he missed a good chunk of the season. Nobody really knows what happened except the team and him. They've kept it under wraps. But he's back, and allegedly he's fully, ready to go. And so
it's Vegas, Joe. He got mad they got rid of the showgirls, and he couldn't play anymore.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but it was bad enough that he missed half the season as a healthy scratch. So it worries me because it could easily happen again. But at the same time, if he is healthy, if he is mentally fit and ready to go, that's only going to do more. That's only going to make our offense better. Having those two tight end sets, because Mayer can catch the ball too. He's not as fast as Bowers, but he is a better blocker in my opinion. And and he can catch the ball himself.
Yeah, he's a pretty good receiving threat as a tight end. Because coming into that draft, I wanted Green Bay to target him.
Yeah.
Oh, how many days we got left for? We're around 80. Who's keeping track of the days?
No, we're in the 70s now.
We're in the 70s now? Yeah, camp starts, end of July? So about 2 weeks?
Yep.
3 weeks? About 3 weeks? Can you believe it's almost July? Jeez.
Yeah, for being the dead time of the year, this month kind of flew by.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't even talked about the jock tax yet.
Oh, my God. You're trying to give me an aneurysm this morning, aren't you?
Well, it's Monday. We got to start off right. We got
to start off right by putting everybody back to sleep.
Look, I mean, everyone's got to go back to work today, so we at least better entertain them a little bit when they got to go back to work. I mean, it's just, this year we'll have to start thinking about our boom and busts for the year coming into the season. Geez, 99 degrees, it's going to be up there in Michigan. Now I know why Mitch is being the way Mitch is today.
I was going to say, that definitely sucks. I love living right on Lake Ontario because it's been cool this whole heat wave.
Right now in the Gulf of America, it is 88 degrees. A nice, cool 88 here in the Gulf of America, which means our beaches are going to be packed full of tourists today. But
and cancer will be aplenty.
Yeah. No, I mean,
make sure you have your SPF 1000.
All right.
We spend a lot of time on the NFC North for obvious reasons. The AFC North, though, is going to be really good. Can you make the argument that the best two divisions in football both have North attached to them?
Yeah, but I think the AFC West is going to be a really good division too.
I was about to say that those, in my opinion, are the best with honorable mentions to the AFC West and NFC East.
Yeah.
I'd be going out and buying an air conditioner yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I know the coaching, just the coaching, the AFC West is like, geez, look at the coaches. Like, okay. I think they're going to be really good. The NFC East is getting really good, though, too. They're coming up. So, I mean,
I got a dark horse candidate for you. I think the AFC East could actually end up being somewhat competitive. Like you have Buffalo.
I'll give you New England.
But I'm not talking about like competitive in the sense of like, I'm talking about competitive with each other. Buffalo Buffalo is really good, obviously, right? The Jets, we don't know what they're going to be like. We kind of think they might be bad, but there's no guarantees there. Miami is kind of a middle of the pack team, and New England, I
really
expect
good
them
or really bad. Miami.
I expect New England to take a step forward. So I'm not saying that they're going to be the best division in football. I just think they're a dark horse candidate for a good division.
You know who my dark horse in the AFC East right now is the Jets because, all right, I know a lot of people don't like Justin Fields for whatever reason.
I was waiting for Justin Fields to come into it.
However, and that sucks, Nicholas.
Oof.
AG, who had to design defenses against Fields for years, when he becomes a head coach, does what? Goes out and signs Fields. So you're like, okay, wait a minute. This is the guy that you had to scheme against for years. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of like, so does that mean that AG has that much trust in Fields? You're like, here, and he handed him the keys to the car. I'm signing you, and you are my starter. And we are designing an offense around you. So that's what I'm saying. They could be a dark horse because look, it's not like he doesn't have skills, Justin Fields. It's not like the dude did not regress statistically speaking in any one of his years as a pro. He started last year 4-2. He won games last year. His last year in Chicago, he did okay. He didn't do great. He did okay. So for me, and then you look at what they also have there. They have some good players on defense. They have some weapons they can use on offense, right? They got a good wide receiver. They got a good running back, right? They got a good tight end. Their offensive line is what's super suspect there, or was super suspect. I don't know how suspect it is this year. The Jets could be a dark horse team in the East, is all I'm saying. I don't know if in reality, but you look at the situation like they might have to lose something more than we think.
I was gonna say, on paper it all sounds great, but in reality, the Jets are the Jets, and they have sucked for many years. Every once in a while, they'll get a breakthrough team that'll get like 10 wins, something like that. But generally, as a franchise, for some reason, they underperform all the time.
No, I'm not going to want Drake May as my quarterback. That's okay, Steve. But I mean, the Jets are the Jets is just the same old tired argument, though, Ken. I mean, I hate to say it that way, but it is. I mean, it's like saying the Lions are going to be the Lions, but the Lions have won the division 2 years in a row. The Jets are a good dark horse candidate. At nothing more, you can at least say the Jets are a good dark horse candidate this year. Because of what, with the coaching changes, some of the changes they made, they are a good dark horse candidate. Because when you look at Miami, what is Miami? A quagmire. Like, you've got two super speedy receivers and a track team with a quarterback that's got a cannon who likes to throw late game interceptions, right? They're like Miami's so up and down and inconsistent. Look, they've choked out the last couple years where they were good, and all of a sudden they choked out at the end, couldn't maintain. So, like, what do you have in Miami? Are they good? Are they not good? I don't know. New England is getting better. They have a new head coach in Vrabel. They're going to have a new identity. I think they could take a step forward. And Buffalo is just Buffalo. We know they're good. So you look at the other three teams, though, you're not going, ooh, I'm inspired with confidence that these are going to be playoff teams or great or good teams. You're like, what are they? And that's what I'm saying. That's why the Jets are still like they're a good dark horse candidate because they could come out of that pack in second place. I'm not saying they're going to win the division, but they could surprise some people, win 7 games, and take second place in that division.
Hey guys,
what's up,
Broski?
Sorry, the show's almost over. I've been on call after call after call all morning.
Fun.
Cleaning up a lot of mess, putting out a lot of fires. Wanted to jump on really quick, and usually I ignore Mo Tomich, but I'm going to address this because I'm just calling him out. Like, I'm using his words against him, so pay attention. So Mitch is claiming Hutch will be what he was to start the season. I'm like, Lions fans are retarded. They're saying, oh, he's 100%. He's 100%. No, he's not back to the same shape he was in. He's 100% cleared to practice without limitations. So then Mitch is like, well, what's your prediction sack-wise for Hutch this year? So I said, well, Okay, you're saying he's going to be what he was last year. So in 5 games last year, he had 7.5 sacks, right? Do some quick math. That's 25.5 sacks projected for 2024 if you would have kept that same pace. So I'm like, for 2025, Mitch, if you're saying project his sacks and he's the same player he was, I said, I'll even knock it down a little, Mitch. Let's say 22 sacks, not 25.5. So, Mitch, you would take the over, though, right? Because he's going to be the same player he was last year, right? So yeah, I did. I gave you my sack prediction, my over under, and the reason why, Mitch. So you're gonna take the bet or not, Mitch, or you're just gonna cower away? Because if you talk all that junk, and you take this bet, then
I can
won't.
already tell you what he's gonna do by this comment right here. He's already cowering away.
When did he have that? Can't seem to remember yet. Well, Mitch, I mean, hey, injuries don't matter, right, Mitch? But injuries don't matter, right? So if injuries don't matter, yeah, you would have had 25.5 sacks last year.
Oh, it sounds like we got a bet.
So, Mitch, you going to do it?
What is the bet, though?
Let's go, broski.
Over under is 22 sacks. I'm taking the under. Mitch is taking the over.
I was going to say, even give him 20, because I don't think he'd hit that.
Nope.
All right. So wait. What's the bet, though? Are we changing? What are we doing? Changing screen names, icons? What are we doing?
Well, Mitch, what's your bet? You're saying 20 sacks. When did he have that? Can't find a reason in the NFL where you have that many sacks. Let's go, broski. Let's make the bet.
So what are we betting, and what is the actual bet number at?
Yeah, I mean, my bet number is 22 sacks. That's the over-under. So I'll take the under.
I was going to say 12 is
12. Okay, Mitch, go fuck yourself. Seriously. Go fuck yourself, Mitch. 12. Yeah, fuck you.
I was going to say Hutch with one leg could get 12.
I mean, come on, dude. Like, you're a chicken shit, dude. Hutch is going to be what he was.
Dude, I was hoping we were going to you know, Ken, I was hoping this was going to be, like, good and, like Mitch would take it, and we could add, like, a Hutch counter all season. Like, every week we've had the Hutch sack counter, you know, for this bet, and we could add something good on the line for the bet. Like, I don't know, maybe not something like a tattoo or something, but something fun. Mitch say, 12.
Yeah,
like, really, dude?
I don't do the logo bets or the. My bets are cash, and they usually start at $100. So I mean, I don't really entertain anything that's less than that. Occasionally, I'll take a $50 bet.
Okay, with 20, I can agree that 22 is a tough number. Would you guys settle at 15?
No, I'm using Mitch's. No, I'm using Mitch's words. I'm already being nice by knocking off his projection. If he was what he was going to be last year, if he was going to be his peak performance, what he was, that's what he was on pace to do. I took that number, what he was on pace to do, knocked it down a little. So, Mitch, if you're going to live up to your words, then he's going to be the same player he was last year, though, right, Mitch? So I guess he's really not, because he's not going to have that, right,
He's
Mitch?
backtracking already.
Mitch, you know he played 5 games last year, right, Mitch? Okay. All right, buddy. Anyway, I'm out. I don't mean to take over. I actually have to drop. Just wanted to pop in and set the record straight with Mitch. Yeah, I might find it in my heart to make 20 to the over-under. You know what? I will make 20 to the over-under. So guess what? Mitch, you want to take over 20? I'll take under 20, 20 being a push, and I'll put 100 on it. Later, guys.
Oh, good one, Broski, and the gauntlet has been thrown.
Dude, that's crazy.
Woo!
Like 20 sacks is a lot.
I was going to say, I wouldn't take a 20-set bet.
No, I understand I understand Broski's point. He's using.
Yeah, I understand his point. I just
but
wouldn't take it myself.
No,
Yeah.
dude. Like, if honestly, I'm in the school where it's like, if Hutch comes back and has 12 sacks, that's a huge season for him coming off that injury, dude.
Steve, I don't know if a lot of people out in the audience are even old enough to know what movie that is. That is great, especially at the end with the nail. Yep.
If he comes back and has 12 sacks, I would be like, I'd be over the moon. I'd be like, dude, okay, he's coming back from the injury, you know, like.
Wait, Steve, is Mitch Laszlo? Steve will get what I'm talking about. Is he Laszlo? I wonder.
See, that's what I'm saying. 12 sacks is a good season for Hutch coming off that injury, dude. If he has 12 sacks, like I would be pretty happy with that.
But look here's the other thing though. I don't even know if he's gonna get that because of the offensive lines that they're playing this year. Like, look, he's normally on the left side, right? Okay, how many sacks does he have against Darnell Wright? How many sacks does he have against Zach Tom? How many sacks? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you look at some of the guys he's playing on his side of the ball, and then you go to the other divisions we're playing, being the East and the AFC North, I think sacks are going to be a lot harder for Hutch to come by on the left side, on his left side, the offensive right side of the ball this year. Like, honestly, like I don't think he has any sacks against Darnell Wright, maybe one at the end of a game, but nothing that was meaningful. I mean, he's going to have to play. So not only is he coming off this injury, but he's playing against a lot of good right guards and right tackles this year that he didn't play against last year. Like, you know, I'm sorry, but the guys that he played against last year, for the most part, weren't as good as what he's seen this year. His numbers could go down, and it's not necessarily just because of the injury, but because he's playing better offensive lines this year.
Yeah, I just think, though, from what I've seen from Hutch, if he comes back and is the same guy, 12 sacks would be an easy number for him to hit.
You would think. I don't think he's going to be the same guy, though. Clean break or not. But the bone is healthy and strong. Yeah, it's fine, but
there's muscle atrophy that you got to deal with.
Yep. And you can even see in his workout videos, he's got a little bit, it's not very pronounced, but you can see there's a little difference in his step.
You're saying there's a hitch in Hutch?
There's a hitch in Hutch. He's got a glitch. So, I mean, fun watching that. And Mitch, of course. But remember, you got to remember the source, though. Mitch says they got better at every position. So.
Hey, he believes
Goff
in
is the best quarterback
I will
ever.
give him that.
Goff is the GOAT. And if Goff can't do it, they got the hooker in the background who can do it. They got the fluffer. Gimpy Hutch. You know, maybe we'll do a passing yard counter. We might do that. That could be fun. Actually, you know, Luca, for the Bears, though, like, they're already going to do one to see if he can hit 4,000. Yeah, no, it was Laszlo, wasn't it? He was not the guy. Yeah, he was the guy from the closet. The guy who was the guy who'd been living in that dorm room for millions of years. It felt like that was a great movie. If you haven't seen Real Genius, you should go watch Real Genius. It's an older movie. It's like one of Val Kilmer's early movies. Good movie. That came out the 80s, like mid to late 80s. So. Yeah, it's going to be fun. But yeah, I think for the Bears, though, there's already going to be a tracker to see if Caleb can be the first to 4,000. Right? That's what the Bears fans are looking for this year. No one's saying that you're the worst team ever, Mitch. Oh, my God. These millennials, I tell you. Oh, he's not a millennial. That's what.
No, he's your age. That's some Gen X burying your head in the sand.
I'm telling you. Okay, Molly Ringwald. There we go. Hey, join us tomorrow. We'll be picking on Mitch some more. No, I mean we don't try to pick on Mitch.
I was going to say I generally don't pick on the guy. Well, I usually don't. Let me phrase this properly because I do give him some shit every now and again.
But thank you, everyone on Bears Twitter, Packers Twitter for watching and for some comments from Twitter today. Thank you for everyone in the comments for making your comments as usual. And Broski for hopping in, Joe for hopping in. He had to hop off here at the end. I have a feeling we're gonna be watching this Mitch Broski thing all season, and it's going to be wonderful. Have a great day, everyone. Don't forget, we'll be back here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Central, 11 on the East on all the socials. Don't forget to hit those likes, subscribes, and hearts on X, Facebook, and YouTube. And don't forget to check out our Roku, or we're also on Fire TV apps. Go in your search engine and search the Huddle Sports or Huddle Sports and watch us on your big 85-inch screen, HD, 1080p, 4K, whatever TVs. Don't worry, Ken and I are probably not covered under your warranty if we break the screen, but that's all right. Everyone have a great day, and we'll see you all right back here tomorrow. Enjoy some pools, suns, and beaches too while you're at it when you're out of work. Bye, everyone.